You can go ahead. They can't hear me. Oh, fuck cancel culture. All right. Now. Yep, we're live. Perfect. Here, I'm gonna throw this over to you, and you should be able to just repost it or quote tweet it. Oh, motherfucker! You know what? Good morning, Misfits. Tommy Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, mate. I'm very well, thank you.
Well,
Yourself?
I'm great. It's funny. I wanted to have you on. I know you've been following. I think you started following me when you were in jail. I don't know how that works, but I was doing a debate last week with this guy, and it was on is immigration a threat to the UK? And I'm talking to this guy, and we somehow your name came up, and he was like, "Oh, Tommy Robinson's a criminal," and I was like, "Well, I fucking want to talk to him more now," because all of the stuff that people lie about with me, it's actually quite entertaining. It's really actually funny, and to be completely honest, I don't know that much about you other than what we agree on, and while I've heard some things, I also don't trust people who just say things. So I like to get people in front of me so I can ask them directly. But everything that I have seen from you, I can't find a single post that I disagree with, to be completely honest. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Obviously, a lot of people know who you are, but give us the rundown. Not that stupid Chat GPT bio that I put up.
Well, I'm a criminal in the same sense,
Same here.
in the same sense that Donald Trump's a criminal.
That's what
Okay,
I figured.
so I face 15 years of relentless lawfare. The last two court cases I've had, where I've had the support of Elon Musk and a decent legal team, both of them have been kicked out of court. The judges have hammered the police. In the most recent one, the judge's verdict was that this is politically motivated and totally unlawful. That was counter-terrorism legislation being used to prosecute me. I would have been a convict. I have no doubt if Elon Musk didn't step in, I would now be sitting in front of you as a convicted terrorist. I have never, in my 15 years, had a jury. I've never been tried by a jury of my peers. I've always been tried by judges. Now, many of our court system, as like yours, are now politicized. So if you read my list of offences, for example, let's go into one of them. They call me a fraudster, right?
Yeah.
I had, when I started my activism in 2009, I started speaking about uncomfortable truths that the government do not want anyone to discuss because it will bring embarrassment on them, because the rape gang scandal, it's due to their policy failures. It's due to the government importing millions of Muslims and not dealing with it, and creating these ghettoized communities, and actually standing the police down and making the decision that for community cohesion, we must allow the Muslims to rape the young English girls because we don't want to upset the Muslim community in any way. So they can rape the way for our country. Now, when I started talking about this, obviously, what happened is the government and their police departments went back 6 years on every single member of my family. Financial investigation. I was detained in 3 dawn raids in the first 6 months of speaking about these issues. Yeah.
Mhm.
One of the dawn raids, they investigated me for money laundering, tax evasion, and mortgage fraud.
Yeah.
Now, at that point, I had 7 houses between me and my wife, 7 properties, 2 businesses, one turning over £400,000 a year, another turning over £250,000 a year. I had 2 successful companies and 7 properties. Now, the mortgage frauds didn't relate to any of my mortgages, okay? They were all cleared as legit. Now, what happened is my brother-in-law was an apprentice for my company, and he said in a self-certification mortgage, just so people can see what this is, he said he bought a property for £80,000. He said he earned more than he did. He bought the property, he done it up. A year later, he sold it. No one lost money. Mortgage company were paid back. 2 years later, after the property was sold, they come and detained us all for mortgage fraud.
Mhm.
Because he lied on his mortgage form about how much he earned in his mortgage, it doesn't matter that no one lost any money. These were the mortgage fraud cases. Yeah.
So
Now,
it's
I was offered a deal. I was found not guilty. No, there was no money laundering. There was no tax evasion. I got cleared of it all. Then on the mortgage fraud, I was offered a deal where if I pled guilty to my brother-in-law's mortgage, not mine, that had nothing to do with me. If I pled guilty, they would drop the charges against other family members. One of those family members being my wife at the time. We had young children. She was pregnant, 6 months pregnant. So rather than her go through a Crown Court trial and her safety and her identity be exposed to the public, I took a plea deal and I pled guilty. And I
sure.
went to jail for 18 months.
Well, that's
So
the talking point that I heard from the dickhead that I was talking to. He was like, "Well, he pled
fraud
guilty. He pled guilty. He pled guilty." So this is what I say. I think that there's some. I don't know what the actual statistic is, but it's like the average person commits like 5 felonies a week or something like that. Where if somebody had a camera up your ass, or if like show me the man and I'll find you the crime, it would actually apply to pretty much every person. Every human being could go through what you're going through. And when I was in a fight, I was jumped last year. 3 black guys surround me. I defend myself. Cops show up. I was in Massachusetts, which is, this DEI place. My mom was sick and she was dying, and it just was an altercation where I was defending myself. These fucking people that stalk me online, during my trial, which I was found not guilty for, by the way, during my trial, they were emailing the prosecutor, calling the prosecutor, sending them my tweets. They were trying to interfere with the trial, and it's like when I hear that there's lawfare going against somebody, as somebody who's experienced even just like that small little part of it, I don't doubt that you can be a convicted criminal, and they like to throw that at you and define you with it. They like to say Tommy Robinson is a convicted criminal. So just hearing your short explanation, and hey, you could lie to me, you could be lying, I don't know, but just hearing your short explanation, that's what it sounds like to me. And
even on the contempt of court, so I went to jail for a contempt of court case,
mhm,
okay, which was for reporting outside a courtroom.
yeah,
Now, when I went to jail, Muslims were walking into court, and I said, "How do you feel about your verdict?" That is what I was prosecuted for. Okay. When I went to the Old Bailey, I showed the judge, as I walked into court that day, 30, 40 journalists coming up, sticking cameras in my face.
mhm,
So I showed the video to the judge and just said, "What's the difference here?"
yeah,
The difference is when they want to put a target on you, they can find and manipulate and interpretate the law in any way they want when you don't have a jury. So contempt of court is the only case that you can get a 2-year prison sentence for in the UK without a jury.
Was there
I've
also, I heard something that somebody said like there was an assaulting an officer charge too? Can you explain that?
2005, that's my only actual real conviction.
Okay.
2005, I was walking home, I was arguing what become my wife, and a man turned up and he said, "I'm going to walk her that way, you go that way." At which point I said, "No, not a chance, fuck off, mate." At which point he rung and rugby tackled me to the floor. Now, if you read the court proceedings, he admits attacking me,
Sure.
where I overstepped the mark of self-defense when I kicked him in the head. So
Okay.
he started a fight. He lost the fight. I was a young man. kicking him in the head. Now I see it. Yeah, it was wrong.
Yeah, no, that doesn't bother me. That's
At
what
that
I'm.
time, I'm fighting.
My point is, I don't want to stay on this too long. I know we have limited time. My point is, look, I'm not perfect. I used to do a whole bunch of crazy shit. I've been arrested before. That doesn't define you as a person. And the way that people try these purity tests that are going on with both sides now, because I'm seeing it from the right, from the left, this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, like this guy in Congress, he cheated on his wife. I don't give a fuck. All right, if they're doing their job and they like Pete Hegseth has had 3 different wives. I don't give a fuck. This person was arrested for a DUI. I don't give a fuck. But I think it's funny that this is the way they try to control you, which is it's a Marxist tactic to smear and slander so that you can discredit somebody who they believe is dangerous. I think that I get smeared and slandered more than anybody. Grok just called me a pedophile the other day. They
I
said
was just looking at that.
so they smear me so much that now the AI is repeating the lies that they tell about me. And I'm like, I might actually go ahead and proceed with legal action against XAI for this, because it's not true. I've never been arrested. You can literally just go look it up. But this is the point. The point is it's a Marxist tactic to discredit people that they're afraid of. So they're clearly afraid of you. And I think it's a lot of the reason. And I believed some of the lies, by the way, when I first heard about you. And we're gonna get to it. You know, I'm not gonna try to pin you down too hard. I want this to be a friendly interview, but I was under the impression that you were like best buddies with Andrew Tate. That motherfucker is suing me because of he said that I was defaming him for pointing out that he was pimping out 15-year-old girls, and I didn't know whether I thought somebody showed me a couple of further clips of you, and it turns out, from what I understand, you're not best buddies with Andrew Tate. So
Has he pimped out a 15-year-old girl?
he was the girl Vivian was born in 1997. The video he uploaded was in 2012. So the video of him slapping around that girl Vivian is proof. There's also proof she was in another video talking about her birthday, and he said, "I've been with you for 8 years." What you need to do, Tommy, if you haven't already, and I'll send you these videos, is watch the Milk Bar TV Nathan Livingstone's compilation on this. It's proven beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond any measure of reasonable doubt, that Andrew Tate was slapping around a 15-year-old girl. And all I did was say that. And he started.
You know that girl in that video. I know the video you're on about, and I do know the video you're on about. Do you know what else? So my son looked up to Andrew Tate. I know Andrew Tate. He's from Luton. I knew him before he was who he is now, Top G. Yeah, I knew him from Luton. Now, with regards to things he said, I used to sit to my son and say, "That's a lie." Yeah? Mm-hmm. So, and what he was doing was building up a persona of himself.
Sure.
Yeah. And I got off a plane, and I got off a plane from in Germany, and 2 young German lads said, "Oh, you know Andrew Tate?" This is before anyone knew who he was. I said, "Yeah." They goes, "We've just been to a Andrew Tate seminar, school thing, like not Hustlers University. It was whatever he was doing before that. I forget what it was, but these were geeky lads, yeah, and they were paying him to teach them to be a man." Now, so when I look back at a lot of what Andrew says and his brother says, a lot of it's bravado. And I know a lot of it's bravado because I know their upbringing. So I know they're bullshitting at times to build a persona of a character that is going to financially benefit them. And young virgins, let's say, because a lot of the men were geeky virgins, will be paying them in order to understand how to be a man. And I couldn't believe these 2 lads that I met on a flight had just paid Andrew Tate to teach them how to be a man. I was like, "What?" I said, "Explain that to me." I just couldn't get my head around it. I said, "Explain that to me again." So when I do watch some of the things Tristan says, some of the comments, I'm thinking, it sounds fucking awful now. But I also at the same time, what's this? See, I haven't watched this video.
So look, see this, and look, like I said, this guy Nathan, he does a good job of removing any doubt. Now, with Andrew Tate, I used to be a fan of Andrew Tate because I don't give a fuck what he says. And I understand
he's charged with that girl, the girl with the belt incident. See, even that incident, she come out and said it was sexual foreplay.
Yeah,
some people
she's also a victim, and you know, you got that Helsinki syndrome or whatever the fuck it is, where it's like, but if you look at this guy's page, there is more than enough evidence that that girl was 15 years old. He was pimping her out. He's on camera multiple times, talking about how he's into young women, and he's like, and there's a lot of evidence against him. And look, what I'm saying is, I don't do guilt by association. So I will run under
I don't do, bro, which I'll never do, is, do you know Panadrama? I made a documentary called Panadrama. Please watch it, yeah?
Yeah, well.
They offered £5,000 to a girl, a fact, to create a Harvey Weinstein story against me.
Sure.
Yeah? The groups behind this were Hope Not Hate.
Yep.
The group behind taking down Andrew Tate are Hope Not Hate.
Sure.
I know 100% there were rape allegations against Andrew Tate. When the police took the phones of the girls claiming they were raped, they found messages between the girls planning to extort Andrew Tate for money.
I'm not saying that's not true, right? That could be, two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah,
Girls can have lied about him, and he also could have done some shady
What
shit.
I mean is, because of what I've been through, because of the accusations levied at me, because I've seen the tactics, because I've seen how they operate, I simply don't believe a word until I see a conviction and so I cannot have trial by media.
Sure.
Because another point, there was accusations of Andrew Tate raped another girl.
Yeah.
In 2017. I was there. I saw her kissing him. I saw her come out of his room all over him.
Yeah.
I saw her messaging him the whole time. So
trauma, like the trauma bond between people who don't want to believe, like, you know, and I think Andrew Tate's very smart, and which is why he tries to compare himself to Trump so many times, because the woman who accused Trump was full of shit, right? E. Jean Carroll, she didn't remember when it happened. She didn't. She said she was wearing a dress that wasn't even made yet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that what you're doing is you're going, hey, I'm not going to believe shit until I see a conviction. People have lied about me. Maybe they're lying about him. This is the way I used to feel. But then what I did was I actually went and looked at all the evidence, right? And I actually read through the court filings. And what I can tell you is that motherfucker is guilty of something horrible. I don't know if he's guilty of every single thing he's ever been accused of, but I know that he's guilty of something horrible. And I'm perfectly fine with saying that as a statement of fact, and which is why he's suing me for it. And guess what? We'll go to court, me and him, and we'll see who wins, because if he calls me a fucking liar and he loses the case, I'm not a fucking liar. So either way, we can move on from that, but I wanted to get you on that just because the reason why I originally kind of was taken a little bit back from you is your supposed like sympathy for Andrew Tate or connection to Andrew Tate. And I think that turns a lot of people off, especially when he claims to be a Muslim and you talk about how Islam is.
It upsets my own supporters, but I wouldn't be true to myself if I threw someone under the bus based on a media campaign.
Absolutely. Don't do that. Don't do that. What I will say is, if you...
I can't do that. I rang, when all this kicked off in the headlines, I rang Rory Sinnett. Now, Rory, I grew up with, one of my good pals. Rory's a good lad. He's I know his family, I know his dad, I know all of them. When this kicked off, I rang him, said, what the fuck is going on? Rory had lived in that house for 2 years. Rory said, bro, it's bullshit. So I can only go off he said, mate, that girl who's saying she was trapped there was out doing whatever she wanted. It's just that she was cheating on her boyfriend. So she made this allegation to her boyfriend. Her boyfriend then rang the police. So I don't know. All I do know is that I can't trust the media or NGO organizations who manipulate pay, because they were trying to do it to me.
Sure.
Do you know, on Panadrama,
I think I understand exactly where you're coming from. Here's what I think would probably...
I hate the fact Andrew Tate converted. I've had big arguments with Andrew Tate. I've had messages going back and forward saying, what the fuck are you doing?
He obviously doesn't like me, but again, I don't do guilt by association. I think that what I would think that people would appreciate hearing, and I don't give a shit if you say this or not, but I think that you probably will, because it's something I would say. If you find out that Andrew Tate is actually guilty of things, and you do look at the evidence, even if you want to wait for a conviction, that's totally fine. I'm assuming you'd then come out and go, I was wrong.
Yeah, of course I would.
Of course you would.
If he was convicted, it's just that, as I said, please, if you've watched my Panorama documentary, I get Panorama on covert recordings making sexual allegations against me.
I know. Well, women do that.
But no, they were paying. No, as in the British state.
Yep.
The main broadcaster.
Honeypot, Honey Trap. They
were paying through. They were paying through NGO organisations. So when I look at what they've done to me, and then I see Andrew Tate, and then I see Russell Brand, and I look at what's happened to Russell Brand, I think, so you start talking against the vaccine, all of a sudden you're a rapist.
Yeah. Well, they did
I'm
it
still,
to Julian Assange. They did it to Donald Trump. But you see, two things can be true at the same time. They can be using and weaponizing sexual allegations against high profile figures in order to discredit them or to hurt them. And the other thing that could be true is Andrew Tate might have actually done it. So what I'm saying is to go by a case by case basis.
all I know is in Luton. All I know is in Luton, prior to Andrew Tate becoming top G, there's people call him arrogant. People call him a lot of things.
Mhm.
I know everyone who grew up with him. I know people who are close to him. I know people who know his family. I know it all. There was never a negative word said about the man.
Yeah, well,
So
I think that the message he pushes to young men is not a good one. And again, this is the difference between people like me and the people who say you shouldn't platform Nick Fuentes, right, because of what he says and blah blah blah. I go, look, here's the deal.
I think Nick Fuentes is hilarious in his own way. Yeah? He's got the character.
I think he's very good at being a sensationist little cunt who plays off of people's emotions.
And I sit there, which is what Andrew Tate used to do. So people don't realise that Andrew Tate used to troll everyone before he was Andrew Tate. I used to watch him on social media, wind up the whole Luton. He'd sit on his Facebook and just fucking whine. It was Mother's Day,
Well,
and he said,
that's why
so
I used to like him. And like I want to move on from this because we only got a short time. But I will say one final thing. It's why I liked him, right? Because again, it's not about what he's saying. What I did like about him was I can see that he's looking people and saying, hey, oh, you don't like me? Fuck you, right? And that's the connection that I had. But once again, what I ended up doing was I started making positive posts about him, and then people said, hey, can you actually look into this? And when I went and looked into it, and this is exactly what I'm telling you right now, when I say if you really do a deep dive on this, I think you'd be surprised.
What are we deep diving on? See, my problem is I have no trust in anything.
No, trust
So
your own eyes.
But if I'm what he's saying, because
Yeah.
if I'm deep diving on court records, it's like
No,
deep dive on my court
not court
records.
records, not
Okay.
court records. I want you
Okay.
to look at what Andrew Tate has said on camera over the past few years and say, okay, now I can take what he said and then I can take verifiable facts, like the fact that Vivian, it was 15 years old when he was slapping her with a belt as a 27-year-old man. For me, that's a no-go. Can't be friends with you, can't support
Do
you,
you know
can't
the
nothing.
proof of her being 15? Does that just come from him saying 8 years ago?
No. I'll send you. I just played you that guy's profile. When we're
Send me it.
done, I'll send it to you. So
Okay.
we can move on because, like I said, I didn't want to make this whole thing. What I really wanted to make this whole most of this about was, like I said, the reason why I brought you on was because I had a debate with this guy who's given pretty much excusing the threat of Islam in the West. Okay. The debate prompt was is immigration a threat to the UK? I argued, of course it is, right? And one of the things that he was saying was, well, you know, the Muslim population in the UK is only 6.5% or something like that. And then I was like, well, you know, they're putting up Sharia courts. He goes, oh yeah, no, it's not Sharia courts. It's a Sharia council. Sharia council, and what he was saying is that they only focus on marriage. And I go, hey, bro, the name is Sharia. I was like, do you understand what Sharia law is? And one of the things that I just made a post yesterday about was the Islam threat to Western civilization in general, Western values. And a lot of people now are saying, well, what are Western values? How is Sharia so much worse than Western values? So, you know, I did a full, you know, like 3 hours worth of research because I really wanted to be able to define Western values. And what I've been able to figure out is a Western value system is based off of Greco-Roman antiquity with a Judeo-Christian ethic system. And what that means is all the ideas are all the governmental framework is pulled from the Greeks and the Romans with the Roman Republican rule of law and democracy. And the Judeo-Christian ethics system is all men are created equal under God, and we have individual freedoms and moral equality. That's it. And Sharia law is clearly in contrast with that. So you know enough about Islam. I wanted to get your take on how can Islam be compatible with a value system in the West that has personal freedom, individual liberty, and rule of law.
Well, it can't.
That,
And the European Court of Human Rights in 2007 practiced this, and the European Court of Human Rights said that Sharia law is incompatible with Western democracy and freedom due to their values and their views on women, homosexuals, free speech. So the European Court of Human Rights have already tried this issue in 2007. So we know it's incompatible. You're mixing oil and water. It doesn't work. In fact, it's never worked. It's never going to work. There's no successful country where Islam's gone as a minority and peacefully coexisted.
Yeah.
The biggest weapon they have is to bang on about we are only 6%. Right now, if a baby's born today, in 25 years, just 25 years, that English baby will be a minority amongst its peers. So forget the fact they're only 6%. Look at the age brackets.
Well, the trans community is only 1%, and look at how big of a fucking problem they are, right? We got men and women's sports, and
it's the explosion in the size of the community and how quickly it will happen. Is the worrying with the demographics. Don't think they're 6% because they're probably not. They're probably 12%.
My point is, there only 1% of people in America are trans, but look at how much support they have. That's a much bigger number than 1%. So what happens is when you pander to the minority, and the minority is tyrannical, right? So Vivek Ramaswamy said it's called the tyranny of the minority. They're a very small group of people, but they're the loudest voice because of all the support they have. And what I'm seeing is, and I wanted to pull this up too, is there's now you got these Republican or conservative influencers going to Qatar. This guy right here, Rob Smith.
They'll throw him off a rooftop. They'll throw him off a rooftop.
He's gay. He's gay. He's a gay man.
I feel a bit, as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, does he realise what he's done here?
Yeah.
To these three, I looked at all three of them. And the other pretty girl.
Yeah, Emily. Right here.
Emily. Do they realise who's speaking to these?
Yeah.
Like, do they realise how devastating this is for them? Right. And I know, and people try and, because Qatar, I'm about to go on a deep dive on Qatar. I'm going to hammer the Qatar because Qatar are the biggest problem. Qatar, for me, when I'm sitting in Great Britain, which is a country plagued by Islamic problems, i.e. jihad, i.e. rape gangs. Muslims may make up 6%. They're 90% of grooming convictions. They are 33% of child defects. We have 40,000 Muslims on a terror watch list. We have all of these problems coming out of the Islamic community. And then we have American right-wing commentators who are telling us that Muslims and Christians are brothers. Will you find me the one European country? Just find me one where that is an example. Because every European country, Muslims are raping their way through it. They are plaguing, terrorizing, torturing, murdering, and killing their way through Europe. They are destroying Sweden, France, Germany, Britain. Go and speak to the people that live with them. But to sit and see right-wing commentators in America, like Tucker Carlson, just selling their souls, and like these three people looking at it, I'm thinking, you have sold your soul. And and people say, well, you stand up for Israel. I get all that, yeah? I look and think, yeah, I stand up for Israel because it's a democracy that believes in freedom. It's a beautiful nation that gives equality, democracy, and liberty. That's why I stand up for them. You're standing up for Qatar, which executes homosexuals, which has no free speech, which supports the Muslim Brotherhood, which has spent, people need to look, which I'm going to look on my next deep dive into Qatar. I'm going to humiliate them, yeah? Qatar spent £750 million funding the Islamization of Europe. Yeah. Every French Islamic ghetto has been created by Qatar.
They put $2 billion into our college institutions, and you think these free Palestine protests popped up out of fucking nowhere? You get the insinuation from, Israel's paying every influencer $7,000. How much did fucking Emily just make off of her Qatar trip going to see the F1? How much is a ticket to an F1 race, a plane to fucking Qatar, and a hotel stay for the week? It's more than $7 fucking grand, I can tell you that.
They must have, but do you know what? In the comparable, when people are saying, yeah, but Israel does the same, it's like Israel's an ally. Yeah. Israel's values, Judeo-Christian values.
Here's my support for Israel. Everyone talks about support for Israel, and they try this tactic of, you support the Israeli government. I don't support any government, not even my own. I talk shit about my American government. You talk shit about your UK government. You think we're supporting Bibi Netanyahu? I'm a Christian. I support the Jewish people. I also understand that Israel is a strategic ally to the United States. So if we have a partnership, that's great. And the biggest thing is, if Israel fails, who is ruling over Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and all the biblical Christian sites? Fucking Muslims. And do you think they're going to fucking keep them there? They're going to build a fucking mosque over Jesus' tomb.
Of course they are.
So
but This is all the people making these comments have never lived with Muslims.
No, that's
In
what I'm
America,
saying.
all the people making these comments, all the people defending Qatar, all the people defending Pakistan, all the people defending Iran, all the people defending Hamas, come and live with them.
Yeah.
Come and experience
Well,
what we live with.
this is the damage. Let's go back to this screenshot. This is the damage that these two have just done, right? Because, like you said, okay, so you have Rob Smith, a gay man who they would throw off of a fucking rooftop if he came in there without protection of influencer status. Emily would be raped and fucking murdered if she walked through the streets of Qatar that aren't surrounded by the security team that they're bringing her in. And they're going, this place is great. And it's like, hey, do you know how that whole beautiful scenery behind you was built? Slaves.
5 fat Jamie died building the stadiums for the World Cup. Do you know the only places in the world that still have the slave trade? Come on, man. Do you know how infuriating it is if you know? And I actually feel terrible for that girl. I don't know who's advised her. I don't know how much she's been paid. I don't know what her position is. Same with the gay gentleman selling. But at the same time now, there's this trend that's coming out of the United States to support these nations. That to say and blame every bit. It's like when they say all of the hatred and all of the division that's being caused is being funded by Israel. It's like, Israel was formed in 1948, you morons. Yeah, Islam has been waging jihad for 1,400 years.
Yeah, well, look at the bar. Whenever Nick Fuentes, that fucking idiot, was talking about how Muslims didn't hate Americans until the creation of Israel, and I was like, have you heard of the fucking Barbary pirates, the Ottoman Empire? Do you understand that Muslims will hate any Western values, Christian, Jew, anybody other than Muslim? And it's because they're fucking Islamists. It's not because America was created in 1776 or Israel was created in 1948. And it's so fucking ignorant. But I know we don't have a lot of time. I wanted to.
The Quran is 7%. No, Mein Kampf, Hitler's book, is 7% Jew hatred. The Quran is 11%.
That's right.
Muhammad hated the Jews. Muhammad hated the Jews before Israel, guys.
It's a perfect.
Okay,
it's a perfect.
600 in 1 day.
It's a perfect segue. The segue, which I was just about to get to, is the woke right and Islam, and how where there's this new like neo-Nazi party again, like Nick Fuentes, the Groypers, and they have a lot of vitriol to the Jewish people. They have a lot of vitriol to Israel, but seemingly they don't have any criticisms of Islam and Muslims. And like you said, Mein Kampf, 7% Jew hatred. The Quran, 11% Jew hatred. It seems like there's what's it called? The Red Green Alliance or some shit.
Yeah.
It seems like this is that famous picture of Hitler sitting across from the fucking Muslim leader, Mufti, shaking his hand and being like, "We got him now." And I wanted to know what your thoughts are on that, because with Tucker Carlson saying, oh, I wouldn't want to live in a place with Sharia law because, you can leave your keys in your Lamborghini. Has he been to Iraq? Has he been to fucking Doha?
Let's not look at Dubai as a country that's governed by Sharia law, yeah, because it's a business. Dubai's a business.
Yeah, it's a tourist spot.
Not real. It's not real, yeah. Let's look at Afghanistan. Go live there. Go live under the Taliban, Tucker, and talk about how great Sharia is. Go tell the women that are raped, the women that are slaved in Iran under that regime, how great it is. The women who are murdered for uncovering their hair, how great it is. But the thing is, which I'm very confident of, yeah? You see all these people now who are standing up on the side of, whether it be Iran, whether it be Saudi Arabia, whether it be Qatar, all the people who are doing that, it's not going to age very well for them, yeah? Because you see the shooting of the Afghani who shot two National Guardsmen. You as America are going to face continued jihad.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? It's coming, and it's coming in mass numbers.
I've been warning about it.
Attack after attack, bombing after bombing, shooting after shooting, rape after rape after rape after rape, just like Britain, just like Europe. And those same people are going to be exposed as frauds and actually as the co-opters, because they're actually working alongside and they're defending and trying to create a facade that you can have mass Muslim immigration and you're all brothers. They hate you.
It's like what Pierce. I mean, thank God we have Trump in, because just in the past week alone, I think he's putting the hammer down, and he's finally recognizing that getting calling Qatar allies and shit like that. It's probably not helping. And he's going full, hey, we're doing a Muslim ban, we're doing this, we're doing this. So let's see how that pans out. But it brings up a good point because you know, Pierce Morgan has this mentality where he's like I don't see any problem with Muslims, right? And it's like I I think that him and Tucker could have done a whole hour long show if they just both agreed on that point. But Tucker instead was just like, "Well, you say faggot, you don't have free speech, this, that, and the other." But I really did want to get you more on the UK aspect because it's where you're from, it's where your activism is. What do you think of Pierce Morgan? I'm banned from his show. I was on his show to talk about Andrew Tate, and then he banned me because I called him out for shouting down a lawyer, an international lawyer who was talking about the atrocities of Hamas.
Well, I thought he believes in free speech. He shouldn't be banning anyone, should
Oh,
he?
he blocks so many people. He blocked
Did you watch
me,
him?
banned
He got
me.
me for 5 years. I went on his program in 2018 where I held the Quran. And from that show, which was the most watched episode of Good Morning Britain there's been, he blocked me afterwards. And nothing has aged well for him again on that video. Yeah? And do you know what? Do you know what? After I come off the video, if you watch our argument, watch our row, after I come off, he said, Tommy, I agree with 95% of what you say. But where you're going on with the Quran, I said, Piers, you're 5 years behind. What you're saying now is what I said 5 years ago. So catch up. In 5 years' time, you'll be sitting realising I'm bloody right, and you'll be realising everything you're saying. But when I watched Piers recently, I don't know if you watched my film Silence.
I did.
The film I went jail for. Obviously, in that film, Piers was a pivotal role. He destroyed a child's life, a 15-year-old boy and his family. He ruined their life with his fake reporting because he wanted to jump on the bandwagon of a Syrian refugee DEI bullshit story. He wanted to ride that wave of English man, English family racist, poor Syrian refugee victim, which was a total lie.
It's like the Michigan man for that MS-13 member in America. They just kept calling him a Michigan man.
Yeah, so well, it's the media, but I exposed him with my documentary. It ended up getting 167 million views. It didn't look well for Piers. The entire British population got to see Piers for the fraud and coward that he is. So obviously, Piers, any chance he gets now in America, he tries to explain to him, "Oh, Tommy Robinson's a bad guy." Now, when I went on Piers' show, Piers made up fake images of our soldiers. Yeah, he put risk of our soldiers pretend they were torturing Iraqis for clicks. Yeah, he was in charge of a newspaper that hacked dead children's phones. He has had to hold that and he's had to own that. Piers was in charge of a major newspaper at the height of the grooming scandal in our country. Now, I knew it was happening. All the journalists knew it happening. Piers Morgan knew it was happening. What did he do about it? Nothing, like the rest of the cowards in mainstream elitist media. Nothing, because it wouldn't have benefited his career. He threw a generation of our daughters under the bus, as did the rest of the mainstream media, because he didn't want to upset the apple cart, he didn't want to upset the establishment, and he didn't want to upset Islam. Now, Piers Morgan was wanting to lock us all up, wanting forced vaccinations. This is a man who says he believes in freedom. He wanted forced vaccinations. He wanted us locked up, and he wanted the non-vaccine, what word did he use? The people who didn't want vaccines, he wanted us all punished. Now, the people who didn't want vaccines have been proven right with time.
I'm pure blood. Yeah, the thing I don't like about Pierce is he's a sensationalist grifting cunt, and I don't like sensationalist grifting cunts. He basically has turned the political space into an episode of Jerry Springer. He brings on these people where he knows that there's going to be a screaming match and everybody's talking over each other, and then he acts like that's real debate or real journalism. So I called him out on that, and when I was on his show, I didn't play that game. I mean, I did participate in debate with Michael Franzine about Andrew Tate, and I came with facts and I came with my valid points. But most of the time when I watch Pierce, it's just two fucking retards yelling at each other. And I don't think that that's good for the political discourse. I think it brings us further away from real journalism, real truth, and I think it's all just because he wants clicks, views, likes, and he wants sensationalism.
He made a comment yesterday when someone commented about something he'd said, and he'd said, "Well, 16 million views."
Exactly. It's what they all say. It's what Nick Fuentes says, Candace Owens says, Myron Gaines. All it's all they care about. The only thing they care about is views.
1 minute is pro Black Lives Matter, the next minute is against them. 1 minute is pro Israel, then it turns, and the public, you can see the public perception of Israel's changing, so he jumps on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
He jumps on any bandwagon. So when you look at him, it's like, who actually knows what this clown believes?
Well, again, this is what we're talking about with these influencers, right? That girl Emily Saves America. I agree with her on some of the things that she says, but I don't even know if she's saying them. I think she's an influencer. She's gonna say whatever the people that are sponsoring her want her to say, or she's gonna go with the trend. This is just like Candace Owens. Candace Owens is all talking about Charlie Kirk's death, drumming up conspiracies, not because she believes it, because it's getting her views. And I think what we need to do is we need more people with conviction. Like, you went to jail. I would happily go to jail. Like, the FBI showed up to my house to talk to me about my social media posts, right? My doormat says, come back with a warrant. I got them on the Ring camera, looking at the doormat and laughing. I put that video up, and then I recorded the phone call of me calling the fucking guy back, and I go, what the fuck do you want to talk about? What post was it? And they wouldn't even tell me. Apparently somebody, they came to my house. 2 armed agents came to my house to talk to me about something I said. And I told them to get fucked and talk to my lawyer. And when I did that, they never came back. They never returned my calls. It just sort of disappeared. I went and took it a step further. I found out the agent's name and I fucking posted it. I go, this guy's name is Tristan Highland with the San Antonio field office for the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Here's him on the fucking camera. Here's his badge. I go, Tristan, come get me. Do something. And they won't. People like me and you will do that. People like that don't really believe or have any convictions, the fucking FBI knocked at their door. They'd go, I'm so sorry about what I said, like this, that, and the other. We need to get more people with conviction.
Know what they actually believe. At least with me, and I get, even now, people are like, oh, now you work for Israel. It's like, I've been pro-Israel since I opened my mouth. I'm born in Luton. I know what the Muslims think of Jews. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So we held, as the English Defence League, I was pro-Israel. It's nothing new. Yeah. In a battle between Israel and Hamas in the Islamic jihadist world, yeah, I'm pro-Israel.
I don't understand that. I don't understand why people like say it like it's an insult, right?
No,
it's
they say you're a Zionist.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe the Jews can have a homeland. I believe it's historically their homeland.
Well, I say that there's a difference between there's Zionism, which is, the theological belief of the Abrahamic covenant, that the Jews have a right to that, and there's a commandment by God that they are going to and should live in peace. And then there's the political ideology, the Theodore Herzl's modern Zionism. And I go, if you ask me which one I am, I'm more of the biblical, but I don't see a fucking problem with I don't see a problem with the other one either.
I believe the Jews can have a homeland, but I believe we should have a homeland as well.
I don't. So this would be like if you said, I don't have a problem with black people. I only have a black people with the ones that think Africa should exist, right? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's all of them.
And then you've got all these people. I've got all these Pakistanis who have colonized cities in my country talking about Israel colonizing their own country, their own land. It's like, you've colonized my town. What are you talking about?
Well, what is there? Like, if you look at over the past 80 years, if you look at Arab nations and expansionism, it looks like cancer growing, right? With Arab nations, Israel has just stayed the same little tiny fucking dot, and they don't have any plans to grow. There's no, I mean, the people get mad about the Greater Israel Project. I'm like, sign me up, dude. I mean, they should have a little bit more land too. But
the only place the Christian population has grown in the Middle East is in Israel. Right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It's shrunk in every other Arab nation because they've been persecuted and tortured and chased to
and
their
that's
death.
my main point is, for anybody that's anti-Zionist, my main point is, if Hamas was ruling over Jerusalem right now, what would it look like? And if you're a fucking Christian and you're supporting Israel's downfall or Israel losing, you're supporting the death of the historical holy sites of your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So get fucked.
And Hamas, Hezbollah, these groups have all made it pretty clear. Israel's not the target. The target's New York. The target's London. The target's the world. Their target is a worldwide caliphate. Yeah? Israel's in their way. First comes Saturday, then comes Sunday. I grew up listening to Muslims make that comment. Their comment in Islamic is first comes Saturday, then comes Sunday. The Jews are first, then the Christians. Anyone thinks, you see the surrounding Islamic countries, if they were to be successful and they blitzed Israel, enslaved all the women, because they made it clear in each war that's what they want to do, enslaved all the women, raped them all, took control of Israel, you think they're stopping there?
No.
And then when people say, this is the thing I can't get my head around, because people say, well, it's the Jews per se, they just blanket the Jews. It's the Jews who are flooding Europe to break down the white race because they want Europe to be Muslim. So I think, okay, so you've got this little bit of land called Israel, and they want Islam to take over Britain, do they? And Germany. Because if Islam takes over Britain and Germany, what do you think is going to happen to Israel? Yeah, it's not going to be good for Israel if all the world's biggest powers become Islamic. That's going to be detrimental and terrible for the state of Israel.
Well,
So yeah.
I mean, I looked up all the tenets of Sharia law and all of the tenets of the Muslims. 64% of Muslims believe that there should be some form of Sharia law. And one of the things I notice about Sharia law is they put God over any country, nation, or legal structure. So if they come to your country and you have laws, they don't give a fuck. So that's not something that you import into a Western value system or even a political structure or a legal framework that's already pre-existing. I don't give a fuck if it's 6%, 5%, 0.2%. You just say, if you don't adhere and assimilate to the cultures and laws of this land, get the fuck out. And I hope that that's what Trump is doing, and I hope the UK figures it out eventually before it's too late, because it looks like it already is.
Well, the thing is, all these right-wing commentators in the United States of America, they're going to be embarrassed and humiliated because the Muslims. I watched a Muslim in America this week. If there was a conflict between America and Iraq, he's with Iraq.
Yeah.
I watch all these comments. So these comments are going to continue to come out as the Islamic community grows. They're going to continue to sit in mosques talking about taking over America. They're going to continue legitimizing the enslavement of non-Muslim women. They're going to continue to launch jihad, continue to launch attacks. And these commentators who are selling their soul to the devil, quite literally, are going to be exposed for what they are. So, but the UK, we are well ahead of you. I have banged my head against the wall, bro, for 15 years, trying to warn America, saying, wake up, it's coming. I'm not talking about what I've read in a book. I'm talking about my life experience growing up in my hometown. Look, listen, there's some great Muslims out there. Yeah, some great individual Muslims. Winston Churchill said,
Of course there are.
individual Muslims will show great traits, but Islam has the power to bring Europe back to the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Islam. So I talk about Islam, not Muslims. I talk about the ideology. I don't talk about the people, because some individuals can show great traits. Someone says, but I know a Muslim and he's a great person. That's not because he's a Muslim, mate. It's because he's a great person.
He's ignoring. So that's what that like. Listen, if 10% of Muslims are hardcore Islamist Sharia practicing Muslims, that's like 200 million terrorists, right? So it doesn't matter if the vast majority of Muslims are great people, because they are great people. There's plenty. The problem is the more you align with the Quran, the more oppressive and the more violent and the more you.
Let me give you some statistics from the UK. 64% of British Muslims would not report on another Muslim if he was joining ISIS terrorism. 64%. 2/3 of British Muslims don't care, would not go against a Muslim brother for us, even if he was getting involved in ISIS, jihadist beheadings, whatever. Yeah, 64%. We had a rape scandal that rocked our country. It's still rocking our country now. 85 towns and cities have been identified. 1,000 victims in Telford. Telford has a 1.7% Muslim population. So in the town of Telford, we had 1,000 non-Muslim victims. The police identified 200 men which were involved in the rapes. I've done a 5-part series called The Rape of Britain. You can watch it at trfilms.co.uk. We sat down with a dozen girls, more than a dozen. We interviewed them for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. We got 264 names of rapists. An independent inquiry got 300 plus names of rapists. Now, if we just take the police's figure of 200 and we take the 1.7% Muslim population, we get rid of the under 16s and rid of the over 70s. So we get the men that fit the age bracket of men that are involved in rapes in that town. We have 1,000 men. That's 200 identified by the police. 200. Now, if we look at Rotherham, you've all heard of Rotherham. Rotherham has a 3.7% Muslim population. There's no Muslims there. In a 16-year period, 1,400 children were raped by those Muslims in that town. 1,400. So look at all of these rapes in all of these towns. 20% of the men were involved, according to the police, in raping kids in Telford. Do you know how many Muslims in the last 30 years went to the police? Do you know how many Muslims went to the police because they knew their colleague, brother, uncle, or someone was doing wrong and raping children? 0. So the peaceful majority we hear so much about are fucking irrelevant. They're
Exactly.
not going to stop it. They're not going to even report on it. They're not going to help us. How many of them are stopping the jihadist groups in Nigeria massacring and raping the Christians? How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How
Yep.
many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, which I know many, they're irrelevant.
Exactly.
But they're not going to save us. They're not going to stop it. We need to save us. You, United States, need to protect your country. Don't rely on Muslim politicians to solve your problem that they're voting in. Don't rely on Democrat politicians who are now pandering.
We now have a Muslim. I call him an Islamo-Marxist. Islamo-Marxist mayor who's about to run. He's about to run the largest city in the United States of America, and nobody sees a problem with it. But I say this all the time, man, and no disrespect, but I think you agree with me. The UK is a cautionary tale of what not to do here, and if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. We don't have to learn from history. We can literally learn from the present, and all you have to do is look across the pond and go, don't do that.
Look at France, look at Germany, look at Sweden, look at, in Britain in 2003, we had 8,800 rapes. In 2023, we had 88,000.
There's a 452% rape increase in the UK from 2002 to 2025. So
Yep.
I'm not saying that every single one of them's a Muslim. I'm saying when it goes up that much, there's a fucking reason.
No, you can draw the graph. Same with Sweden. It perfectly correlates with the influx of Islamic migration.
Germany, yeah. Anyway, brother, I know you already gave me a little extra time. I really appreciate you coming on. We should do this again sometime, and it was really great talking to you. And hey, man, we might not agree on the fucking Tate thing, but I'm gonna send you some stuff, and I hope that you look into it. But one thing I do know about you after this conversation is, if facts came out,
if I'm right, if I was wrong about anything, I'll own it. Yeah. If I'm wrong about anything, my problem is.
That's all you can ever ask for with anybody. You don't need to give somebody a purity test and say, if you don't denounce Andrew Tate, I'll never speak to you. That's not what I do.
Even people like my own supporters wanted me to denounce Andrew Tate when he converted. Yeah. Now, when he converted, I've got mates, bro. I've got mates who I speak to who are doing 10 years in jail, 15 years in jail. I've got friends in jail for drugs, for guns. They're still my friends. Yeah. I've grown up with them. I know them. I'm
gonna fucking take your fucking friend to court. So we'll see what happens.
Well, have fun. He's got All right, Sam.
Thanks, brother.
Sam, cheers, man. See you later. Bye bye.
All right, boys and girls. That was Tommy Robinson. That was fun. That was interesting, and I hope that I did what I have been telling everyone else to do, which is, you might be able to bring some. Now, we do agree on a lot. We definitely agree on Islam, but don't agree with him on the Tate thing. And I think that I pressed him on it. I wanted to be one of those people that can show you that you can vehemently disagree with somebody on something, and you can still have a respectful conversation, but you don't have to fucking simp out, right? You don't have to say, well, we'll circle back to that. Oh, you like Stalin? We'll circle back to that, right? No. Fucking chat's busy, man. You know what? Tommy really does got clout. There's 8,000 people in here. This is definitely the biggest audience I've had. Not on the Rumble, on the X. Everyone seems to be going nuts. I can't wait to read your fucking comments. And I know we got some comments in here like, oh, this is an echo chamber. Fucking, looks like YouTube's really pissed off. Got a lot of YouTubers in here. But I just wanted to talk to Tommy because I think that we covered this, right? Islam is incompatible with the West, right? Individual Muslims can live peacefully in many nations, and they do. But the ideology is incompatible with Western civilization, because in Western civilization, right, or Western values, right, we respect individual liberty, personal freedom, moral equality. We have a Judeo-Christian ethic system, which triggers the fuck out of people when you say it like that. It's like, it's just Christian ethics. No, it's Judeo-Christian ethics. Because the Jews and the Christians both believe that we are all made in the image of God, and we are all equal. Islam doesn't believe that. Islam believes that women, gay people, and non-Muslims are all second-class citizens. These fucking stupid motherfuckers who went to fucking Qatar. Let me see if I'll get this box resized up for you. They went to fucking Qatar and talked about how awesome it was. These people are what we in the business call useful idiots. Okay? If you have, let's go to Emily right here. If you have somebody like Emily saying, I genuinely can't believe how clueless some people are. Qatar hosts Formula One. Who gives a fuck? We have NASCAR. And people from all over the world fly in for it. That doesn't mean that they don't also enslave people, cut people's heads off, rape and murder women just like you. Right? This is not fucking like, this is not enough. Oh wait, they got cars? Didn't fucking know that. Or how about Rob Smith? Let's see here. Where is it? Here we go. Or how about did you know there's a U.S. Air Force base in Qatar that hosts 10,000 active duty American soldiers? I did not. Well, you're a fucking veteran, so that's weird. But Cuba has a fucking a U.S. military base. The fuck are you talking about? It's like, dude, it's a wild notion to me that what people have been doing lately, this applies with, Nick Fuentes, this applies with Islam, it's basically they're going, well, let's look at the good parts of these ideologies that will fucking destroy America and that are in conflict with everything we believe in. Let's look at the good parts. Did you know that Qatar has an air base and very fast cars? It's like, I don't fucking care. They practice Sharia law. They want to kill you. They want to convert or kill every non-Muslim. So they can have all the fucking air bases they want. They can have all of the Formula F1 fucking racing shows they want. They can buy as many influencers as they want. They can't fucking buy me. And none of you fucking stupid cunts that are parroting their stupid fucking talking points are going to convince me otherwise. I don't give a shit about this whole fucking like $7,000 or she was paid. No, I don't give a shit if she was paid or not. What she says is what I disagree with. What Rob said is what I disagree with. We have been way too focused on why, right? This whole let's just ask questions. Let's figure out why. Let's figure out why XYZ. Let's figure out why Tucker Carlson is being Tucker Carlson. Let's figure out why these people are saying this. Don't give a fuck. They're saying it, right? I don't care why. All I know is that they are, right? I don't care why Nick Fuentes says that Jews should be fucking given the death penalty. I know he said it, right? Oh, maybe he was trolling. Don't fucking care. Not conservative. You're not in the movement. Get the fuck out of my tent. That's all I need. I don't need to be fucking Nancy Drewing this shit. And neither do you. Judge them by their fruits and what they produce. These people are producing garbage. That's all you need to know. Hi, fuckface. Nick's going on Crowder. I hope he does. I hope he does. And I hope that you fucking dumb fucking retard. I'm not calling Steven Crowder retarded. I think Steven Crowder's going to give him a tough interview. But I'm talking about people like Tucker Carlson. I hope you dumb cunts, Piers Morgan, Tucker Carlson, I hope you keep putting that little skinny Mexican twink cunt on camera. Please keep putting him on camera. Put that motherfucker's face everywhere. I want people to Google him. And I want them to see all of the shit that he said. Because while you fucking people are doing a fucking victory lap just because that motherfucker's getting on programs that he's never been on before, you do not realize that the majority of people aren't fucking into it. They're not going to like it. They're going to reject it. The only thing that you could do The only the only thing that could even possibly happen from normalizing Nick Fuentes is we lose credibility. So good fucking job. And if that's the goal, great. If the goal is to destroy MAGA, to destroy the movement, if the goal is to put Democrats in power, keep glossing Nick Fuentes, right? Keep on saying, oh, he's got some good ideas. Keep on saying he's got some valid points, right? Like the reactionary right has valid grievances. That's true, right? When you demonize young, single, white men for over a decade, right, they're going to have grievances. That's very accurate to say. And they're valid grievances. But the reaction of the reactionary right is to become the left, which means you're about to give the left valid grievances. You fucking morons. Wake the fuck up. All right, boys and girls. Let's keep this show to an hour today. I have a huge, long interview tomorrow with Karis Rhea, and it was in person. She came down to San Antonio. We used the business center downstairs, but the Wi-Fi just wasn't strong enough. So that's going to be airing. It'll be live, but not live tomorrow for the Wednesday show. And then we will do the weekly breakdown tomorrow night with Sean Farish. Again, just want to thank Tommy for coming on. He didn't have to. Guy's got a way bigger platform than me, but he was generous enough to give me his time. So while I did disagree with him and while I did push back on him, I didn't bring him on here to give him a fucking purity test or read him the riot act. I think that that's how you get people to sort of like, you don't want to push somebody like turn them into Megyn Kelly, where they go, you know what, fuck all of you. All right. So gave him all the evidence, gave him all the facts. We'll send him over Milk Bar's super clips, and maybe he'll change his mind, maybe he won't. Either way. All right, boys and girls, if you have never watched the Daily Breakdown before or TMP Uncensored, at the end of every show we do the shout outs. I see a lot of YouTube comments in here, but I ain't shouting out YouTube. Fuck YouTube. But I will read out anybody that came over to Rumble and left a comment. I might even read off a couple of comments here, which there are many. Usually we don't have this many, but apparently Tommy really triggers people, which makes me like him even more. But we got Coffin McGroin in the chat. We got Celestial Heart on the Edge, TPH14. We got who else? My Rumble chat. Film What Matters. Again, fuck Islam. There you go. Roadrunner 513, 508J Fisher. Anyone else? Georgia Mom 2015. Love Georgia Mom. 7 Legion Studios. I think that might be everybody. Oh, no, we got Eden at the top. Let's see if there's any comments that actually are productive to have a conversation about. Let's see here. He's in the wrong country. The sentiment that you can ship away natural-born Americans because you don't like their Jewish ethnic makeup is straight bullshit and antithetical to America. Agreed. You jerked him off. Stop lying. There was no pushback. I did not jerk him off. We are in different fucking countries. That would be very difficult. Need a thumbs down. Nick Fuentes video. All right. The rest of this seems like just fucking drivel. All right, boys and girls. Tomorrow, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern. The Daily Breakdown is back with a very long and very good interview. We'll see you then. And tomorrow night, I will be here live.